All right, so good morning, y'all. I don't know where to start or how I was going to even start any of this. I mean, I just had some things on my mind because yesterday was a pivotal. It was a pivotal moment in history, and they always like to say that history was made. I know why they say certain things because it's a first time for everything. And but this is probably one of the craziest. This was to me one of the craziest history bending events because a felon, got into the White House. That's crazy. That happened. A felon got into the White House. Listen, and a whole lot more things. A whole lot more things happened. This is what I'm going to say, and because of the fact that I didn't really have anything in particular. I mean, there is a particular thing that I am talking about, but because I just have a lot of questions, a lot of things, and I don't really use this platform to really necessarily talk about a lot of controversial topics. I don't get into politics as much, only but to vote, just to do my civic duty and vote. Of course, I voted the who I felt was the right person for the job, and I didn't vote just for my vested interest. I voted because I have family. I have, women in my family, my wife, my sisters, all my cousins, my all my nieces and nephews, because there are so many things that was being said during these campaigns, and it was like one person was speaking against a lot of things, and then the other person was speaking for a lot of things to happen. And because we seen, I was at one of the rallies, so we seen a decent turnout. I seen a decent turnout, and I'm saying to myself, well, there definitely could be this same turnout at this rally could happen at the polls. And that probably did happen. That probably did happen. There were probably a nice amount of people that turned out at the polls, but it was a certain group and demographic that we were surprised that went along with the okie doke. So that's what surprised the heck out of me. And for all y'all that's tuning into this channel, that's used to what I'm used to doing, I'm just taking a different turn with all of this. Like I said, politics is not something that I want to necessarily get into and speak on. But I mean, if you have a space to speak your mind and not allow your mind to wander in other directions with certain stuff, then why not just um, use that platform for that? But just to get this out of the way real quick. Thank you guys for joining me at my channel. I'm here. I try to be here like on Wednesdays, sometimes Thursdays, definitely Saturday evenings, and definitely Sunday because I do my lazy afternoon album reviews and announcements. It's mainly hip hop music that I pretty much do reviews of, for. Um, there's just some things that again, going back to the subject that I was speaking about. Damn, this election though, like yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy because I didn't expect the turn that it took. I didn't expect this turn. That's just what's wild about this whole thing. I didn't expect it to go the way that it did. And me being a black male from the city of Philadelphia, I'm from the state of Pennsylvania, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania at that. I'm from this Commonwealth where it was necessary for voters to turn out in droves the way that they should have. And while that may have happened, like I said, there was a certain group, certain demographic of people that probably turned out. And when they did, they probably went the other way. See, something may have happened where there was a swing of sorts. Now, I was up this morning, and here's the crazy thing about all of this. I was up this morning, like, I was tuned in, of course, to the election, the projections, because, again, following everything up until it was closing at 7. Most polls were closing early at 7. Then the other polls were closing at 8. And then other polls were closing later at 9 and stuff like that. So I'm like, wow, I'm going to be up for a minute, checking this out. And my wife was in bed. I was downstairs. I'm like where I'm at right now. Like I'm already down here. So I'm like, whoa. Like, so I'm gonna be up all morning. I mean, well into the morning. And then they announced, well, polls, they're not going to get counted up until like in the morning, wee hours of the morning. So let's just say I'm up until maybe like 3 or 4 o'clock. Then I decided, let me take myself to bed. Let me go to bed. Because I'm tired now. This got me weary. I'm tired. I got my Kamala Harris T-shirt. I got listen, man. Like I'm psyched. I'm psyched. I just really want to know like what's going to happen. Like what's going to happen, man. As I go to bed, because I check out NBC News and they was reporting it on NBC. She was somewhere around 222 at that point when I went to bed. 222. He was at 266. So I'm like, oh man, she might gain some traction. But then Pennsylvania got reported. They reported the projections for Pennsylvania. Excuse me. They reported the projections for Pennsylvania. And what do you know? Trump got Pennsylvania. He got Pennsylvania. Again, like I said, I'm just trying to be short and sweet about this though. But I think that I want to, speak a bit on this whole thing. Goliath Kong, my bad, bro. Thank you for joining me. My man let me know I'm here. I'm salute Goliath Kong. If you want to in the comments, whatever it is you want to ask of me or whatever it is you want me to speak on, I'll be glad to speak on that. But just know that I don't want to get too highly controversial with all this. This is not really my lane. As far as with the I never like to talk about politics, bro. I never like to talk about it. If it's about sports, I'll definitely get into that. About music, definitely. Music, sports, but never politics. Politics, I'll just leave that at the ballot box. That's just where I'm at with it. Like, I don't really want to, but we're going to take this time out to address some things because I feel like what's a segue into what I was just talking about is that what's even more crazy is the demographic that came out. The demographic that came out to vote. That's what was even more crazy. The demographic that came out. And while because here's where I'm like a bit here's where I'm like really surprised at. And I don't know, like, because here we're at the precipice of really creating history. I don't care about, Donald Trump made it at 4 years in office, for another 4 years or whatever. It was like a little gap in between. That to me is really not history. It's just a degradation of the American politics, rather. As you could tell, Donald Trump is not really my favorite candidate. He's not, and I'm sure y'all could tell that by now. So I just feel like, okay, well, this this guy, he's in office. So what do I do with that? What do I do now? I mean, well, it's not really up to me anyway, but it's like the the demographic that came out to vote for Trump, we actually thought that because all the inflammatory stuff that he said, all the things, the defamatory stuff that he said out of his mouth, and the fact that underlying first of all, lying through his teeth. I mean, he lied exceedingly. So he's told lie after lie, and this, that, and the third, and every which way, all in between. But the demographic and this is what I felt like, even with Kamala, she should have actually targeted this certain demographic, and the demographic that she should have targeted, even though the Gen Z, and I don't want to say targeted as if to say like she should, like under some herd mentality type of stuff or whatever. What I'm more so saying is that in order to, first of all, the Gen Z population and the Gen Zers themselves are very innovative. This whole thing with how we use social media and technology, because we're more in an advanced state where we at. This is why I felt like she should have took her campaign more to the Gen Zers. Although I don't know if that's what she was doing, because I know she did speak at a few colleges here and there and stuff like that. What I didn't agree with her more was that she was trying, I don't know, the pandering part of it was that the pandering where people saying she's pandering. I mean, you have to do certain things in order, like when it comes to campaigning, and and me being a part of the DNC. So I know a bit about this, the Democratic National Committee. Me being a part of that as well, I do know that when it comes down to campaigning, you have to also speak relatable. You have to be relatable with some stuff, topics. You don't necessarily have to, play certain music, even though like certain music is appealing and certain artists are appealing to certain groups of people. But I think that she more so took more of the old approach to things, where she should have stepped it up a notch. I think what also was in the other side's favor was that they also knew how to finagle their way into things. There's a lot of weird stuff that's been going back and forth throughout these both respective campaigns. And the fact that he knew how to manipulate things, he knew how to, even while he was up there, spewing a lot of nonsense and lying and stuff like that, it still made him come off as authentic. It still made him come off as someone who's genuine, or whatever the case. See, and here's where I get a little bit controversial. Here's where I say something that most people probably ain't, is not going to point out or going to say, was that when it came to the young male white voters, what happened there was that the behavior that Trump was on, and the way he was responding to things and the way he was acting, they resonate with that. I'm just going to put it out there that they resonate with that. They resonate with the goofy behavior. See, one thing's for certain, that when it comes to a lot of rural white Americans, they actually how can I say this in a more eloquent way? But the only way to say this is that when it comes to certain things, and when it comes to the bottom line, and when it comes to being all in together, it's more of having a serious mind. Like, look, I don't care if you insult me. I don't care if you don't like me. You don't like, well, some things, but some things I don't like about you either. But we can come together. We can still come together. We can still work with each other, whatever like that. Because something, I like it's kind of like it's this match of wits when it comes to rural white male Americans. It's this match of wits of sense. And you can also feel that when it comes to that other side, that group. Because a lot of rural white male Americans are non-understanding. They show little empathy with things. They show little emotion when it comes to stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's not like with it's not like with the average person, because that's just not. I'm just not going to say that that's just with rural white male Americans. But if for them, that's what they're known for. And so I was not surprised that when it came down to the turnout or whatever the case, all of the goofy behavior, the off-color jokes, insulting people, kind of sort of looked like a frat party of sorts, like pranking each other. It kind of sort of looked like all of that type of behavior was being displayed on stage. So when it came time to turn out the vote, and of course, a lot of early voting, mail-in ballots were put in as well. So that may have helped with stuff. And the fact that he was like more of the popular vote, which again, here we are in America. So popularity, in order for you to be popular, you got to, so to speak, be what they consider an alpha male. When you go to these other countries, an alpha male means something else. Being a man means something else. Being a tough guy, or should I just say being a stand-up man, a stand-up person, means something else in other countries. In America, it's almost like the goofy behavior, all those things is what won a 30 plus something felon the election. So he did this is what happened. He's got this on the strength that he is who he is. Let me speak on it. The fact that he's Donald Trump, he's someone who's an off-color celebrity of sorts. I mean, sure, we all know him from The Apprentice, right? We all know him from that. So, of course, this makes a lot of sense now, don't it? We like Donald Trump because Donald Trump not only speaks our language, but because Donald Trump, and not only because he's a comedian of sorts, because listen, he may entertain most of you, but not me. He doesn't entertain me. But because he can get up there and show his off-color goofy behavior and stuff like that, I think that he needed to be a part of a different profession other than become the president of the United States of America. I feel like he should have got into comedy, if anything. I mean, his jokes are bad, but again, like he should have maybe, I don't know, like co-produce a funny series or something with Larry David or something. Although I don't know how him and Larry David would get along, being as though Larry David is like Larry David's not middle age. I guess if you want to say that, or he's like, I think Larry David is somewhere like in his 70s somewhere, and Jewish guy. I love Larry David. He's a national treasure, to be honest with you. Larry David is just one of those people that I really take to. Now, will this change? If I ever find out he's a Trump supporter, like, will that change? I still like Larry David, so I don't know. Howard Stern, he's another one. You know, I love that guy. That's funny because now we can segue into what also got him the votes as well was the fact that, and this is where rural white male Americans, Gen Zers, or should I say the younger white male Americans, particularly the Gen Zers, the ones who are in the college campuses now. A lot of them, and this is what I caught on television, a lot of them also, I don't know if one of the reporters was on the ground and he was saying that when he's spoken to a lot of a lot of the kids that's in college, he said that a lot of them caught him on Joe Rogan's podcast. And so that's what got him the popularity vote among white male Gen Zers, which is interesting because actually Kamala was on Howard Stern show. I think that, okay, we can kind of sort of do a play-by-play here. Here you have Joe Rogan is known a lot for a lot of his off-color, you know, his behavior. There were some controversial things that was surrounding around Joe Rogan. That's not to say Howard Stern is a great example either. But at least with Howard Stern, like I mean, hell, Howard Stern speaks his mind, actually. And this is before Howard Stern, in my opinion, is the OG of this whole. Or should I say, he's one of the OGs when it comes to this whole podcasting space thing. He was doing that before all of this was even a thing. So yeah, that's where I rock with Howard Stern because Howard Stern, you know, was doing this way before. And I think that that's maybe where Kamala may have seen where her popularity can rise because as long as you're on some type of platform, you can pretty much, you know, get yourself out there. Mainly what I'm trying to do with, you know, with my lane and what I got going on here, where I stand to rise as creation. So it's like, if you interview somebody, especially somebody like the vice president, Kamala Harris is the vice president as we speak. She's the vice president right now. And so my thing is, when you interview somebody like that, you have somebody huge like that on your platform, you're pretty much reaching the audience who tunes into that platform. You're reaching that audience who tunes into that certain platform. So that's what ended up happening with Trump and Joe Rogan. Not only that, hold on. Not only that, though. Joe Rogan, not only appearing on Joe Rogan, but before that, earlier, he was on Aiden Ross's channel. Now, Aiden Ross is just downright a MAGA supporter, so I don't think that she would have necessarily been comfortable, you know, being on his platform. So it was just one of those things like, you know, why would I, you know, it's almost like, you know, why would I even want to break bread around a bunch of, you know, skinheads or just known white supremacists at that? Why would I want to sit down at the table when I don't rock with that type, you know, that type of behavior? Those are not the type of people that I want to be around or hang around. So why would I want to be a part of that? So that's what I'm saying. Like, this whole thing was really, yeah. I mean, the target audience that Trump actually, the target audience that who he pretty much, man, I'm trying to get it out there. Like who he catered to. And it wasn't just the group of the Gen Z white males, the young white males that he catered to. It was just the fact that he just did a lot of relatable things, or should I say, I mean, for the life of me, I don't know what most that he could have said either, because it was almost like he didn't really say much of anything. But what would I mean, even if having limited to say, the fact that okay, he's selling hats, that the hats become this big thing, the MAGA hat. Oh God, well, god awful red MAGA hats, and then you have the whole, um, oh my God. Then we come down to the sneakers, and then it's so much memorabilia, merchandise that he's like selling, T-shirts, whatever you name it, and it's like that's what got people sold to that. But the fact that he lies through his teeth the whole time during this campaign, and then let me also go down to the meats and potatoes of who's behind this campaign. Also, he have conspiracy theories that's behind his campaign. That's telling them, I mean, really telling them a lot of off-color things. I mean, he himself aligning himself with people that also got on the platform and was also speaking, also got on the platform as well. It was also saying inflammatory things and offensive things, off-colored, making off-color jokes, such jokes like Puerto Rico, is a floating garbage. My grandfather, so happened to be born. My mother's father is born in Puerto Rico. Something like that really offended me, even if I myself is not full blooded, Puerto Rican. My mother's half Puerto Rican, half Bayesian. Rest in peace to my mother. My father's from Jamaica. So if you say anything about anyone from the Caribbean nations, any group of people from the Caribbean nations, I take offense to that. He said things about Haitians. He said things about a lot of people, Jews. He said things about Latin, well, I already said Latinos, but other Spanish speaking people, Asians, you name it. He said things about. Not sure if okay. I'm not sure if he said things about Asians, but I'm sure somewhere we can find a clip where he has said something about them. But Arab Americans, he said some things about them. The whole mass deportation, nonsense. It's a lot of things that he have said outright out of his mouth that leads us to believe that, whoa, like this dude is really like on some extreme stuff. I mean, we could talk about Project 2025. We could talk about all these different things, stuff that he wanted to put in place and laws and well, he claiming that he has law. But then we also, speaking of laws, we can also go to the fact that, giving police officers immunity. Like, geez, it's a lot of crazy mess, man. It's a lot of crazy mess. And I think at this moment right now, because where we at, I mean, what's done is done. All we could do is just look forward. All we could do is just continue to keep moving ahead, and we could just look forward and see what's in front of us. And I guess we got to go with that, because I don't know. I don't want to necessarily sit here and say that we know what's. A lot of people are saying that we have no idea what's going to happen. We have ideas what's going to happen. I mean, a lot of us really don't know, but it just doesn't seem like this is a great. Yeah, this is not great at all. But um, I guess I just try to be. I'm trying to see the upside with certain things. Um, this is definitely something to pay close attention to. because I for one, I'm not going to hold you. I am a bit, if you want to say, concerned. I don't want to sit here and say I'm in fear of anybody or anything, because with God, you got to walk with faith, not by fear. Um, Even though the saying is walk by faith, walk by faith, not by sight, whatever. So for me, we gonna change the whole we gonna change the whole atmosphere of this. We're gonna walk by faith, not by fear. Especially with given the fact that my people, we know what it is. You know, um, for us, has been nothing new as far as what we facing, have been facing throughout time, especially with our ancestors, um, our, back in the day, civil rights movement, all of that Jim Crow era. So, but that's not anything that we want to relive. We don't want to relive that. Like, of course not. We don't want to relive any of that. I don't want to relive any of that. Moving forward is what this country should be doing. And the fact that white rural um, Americans, Gen Zers, white Gen Zers, was targeted throughout this campaign to vote. And it wasn't just them. I mean, the fact that Latino voters came out to vote for Trump, blacks, or should I say Africans in America, for Trump came out to vote. Like these groups, like this is not. If this is seriously somebody that you would want to represent you in this country, then you really have a serious issue with yourself. Not also to the fact that a lot of misinformation is put out there. I mean, these are things that's probably have been put out there already. So it's almost like anything that I'm saying is probably not new at this point. But it's like misinformation put out there. Misinformation. So this is what's going on. This is what's happening. So he tells a lie or two or whatever. A lot of what he's even said has been debunked, but we still follow through with it. And I'm not going to say we. I'm not a part of the we. Whoever they are that love this guy. It's crazy. So, I mean, where do we go from here, right? That's always the question that's at the top of that's at the top of our mind. That's on the top of our mindset right now. Like what many of us are probably thinking about that. What happens now? Well, I can tell you what happens now. We got to continue moving forward. Everything that you've worked hard for and you strive for, I think you have to strive even more harder and fight even more harder for it now. Man, if you are together, if you got your stuff together, then you keep your stuff together. You try to keep things more intact because, like I said, I know for me, back in what was that 2018, and I was dealing with some legal situation. I was locked up, possession of marijuana. This was probably back in like what's that? For me, that was probably, I'm trying to figure out like when was that? 2005, I believe. I don't know if that was then. I think we might be talking about 2015. Anyway, yeah, probably 2000. Nah, it wasn't 2015. My bad. It was 2005, 2007, around that time. I was right the first time. So I got pardoned here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, through the Pennsylvania Commonwealth. Not necessarily here in Philadelphia, but as far as in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I think it was through Harrisburg. Was the governor? Shout outs to the governor. Man, he's done a tremendous job throughout this whole thing. Shout outs to the governor, Josh Shapiro, alongside the former governor, Governor Wolf, and Josh Shapiro. They both worked in collaborative efforts to get me pardoned for my conviction. And I owe everything to both those men. Those are great governors. Well, the governor currently he's a good man, and so is Governor Wolf. He was a good guy. They both was. They both in collaboration. They worked together to pardon me. Let's put it like this: Governor Wolf, he was on his way out because at this point he served his term as governor. And I think this was in January of that same year, and it ended up, and then my case ended up getting pushed back. Matter of fact, I had to put up money. I had to put up freaking money, yeah, to get my whole case, pretty much back. What was it? I had to pay like these fees and stuff, and then a restitution fee and all that crap. And then basically, once I did that, then everything, is erased. So like I'm good to go now. Like I'm actually a free man right now. So like no, I don't have any criminal convictions is what I'm saying. Here I am, no criminal convictions at all. Yes, black man, no criminal convictions. No felony on my jacket, nothing. I'm clear of all that. Even though I might have to do some second checking to see if if everything's off my record. But from what I know, the main thing is a felony. The felony is off my conviction record, and here I am. I've worked hard for that and everything, and look where we are now. We have a felony, a 30-time felon in office who's able to get in office for another 4 years. That's the crazy thing about it. Like this should really teach us a lesson about something. Not just teaching us a lesson. This is really showing us something. That here I am. I was going through 17 years. I was going through 17 years of a whole bunch of hardship to get my felony conviction off of my record. And here this guy has 30 felony convictions. And he's able, he served 4 years already from 2016 to 2020. He lost to Joe Biden in 2020, lost that election. He wasn't able to get his 4 years again. Because as a president, you are allowed up to 8 years. And so here we are, 2024, though. He's able to get right back in. But I mean, your 4 years, you didn't really make any strides or any accomplishments. And here we are again. Yeah, man. Those were the things that were on my mind. I'm not quite understanding like where do we listen. It's almost like I'm at a loss for words because I just couldn't believe it myself. So here I am, and it's almost like you can't really trust who's around you because you don't know like what it is that they it's almost like because it seems like a lot of people are like really excited about this. And I'm like, well, shoot, am I the only one that's not excited about this, about none of this? Am I the only one? But I think it's like we're coping and dealing. But it's like, man, if I can, if I can escape to a deserted island, I will, because this right now is like really nuts. But again, everything has its reasoning. You got to look at the upside of things. Maybe this is a testament to, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, America definitely made the decision that they made to elect who they feel is relatable and who they resonate with. I definitely know that white males, and I'm not going to just say Gen Zers, I could even say even in my age group, because we can put millennials and Gen Zers in there, that actually this is who y'all resonate with. Y'all not only resonate with Trump, but y'all resonate with Vance, him being a millennial himself. Maybe some things that he said that y'all resonate with. Because how could young male, white males really relate to a black woman? And I say that because because I'm going to keep on saying, yeah, she's of the African persuasion. Of exactly. She's of Indian descent too. See, we had this whole mix up with all of that, but it was like, is any of that a factor? The fact that she's a former prosecutor from Oakland, California, and that's where she was born and raised by her mother, a single parent at that. Her father, though, he was a native. He was he was native to Jamaica. I could definitely relate to that because my father's from Jamaica. But not only that, that woman remind me of somebody. She reminds me of my mother, her resilience and strength. So that's one of the more reasons why I voted for Kamala, because of the fact that she appeared genuine, she appeared authentic to the core. Now I'm not going to resort to, again, we can keep this clean. I ain't going to resort to mudslinging. It's not necessary to do none of that. When I was on Facebook, I had to address some things, some few friends of mine or whatever, some things that I was utterly surprised about, but then really not surprised. And I feel like, me being 42 years old, there's a certain way I still have to carry myself. Just like my man Goliath said, him being a Gen Zer, him being a 15, a young guy, but he's mature. This is where we do have to come into our maturity, no matter what age we are. Having understanding and having empathy, especially for other people, is the way to go. It's the way to go. People think that they have their misconception of what it means to be alpha male or whatever it is. But none of those things, being some tough guy or whatever, or just advocating for goofy behavior, racism, xenophobia, advocating for violence, speaking division, and all sorts of things. I don't rock with that. We don't rock with that type of behavior. And man, like even within these days, missing my mother and missing my grandmom who also recently passed, it's like I miss them a whole lot more, because it's like, well, damn, I remember the days when things was this way and things were that way, and it's like the more and more things change, the more and more I miss. I want to freaking get into a time machine and really literally go back to a time when things appeared innocent, or in his case, great. Because there were moments where things was great for me. I would say so. But as far as this country on a whole, no. Yeah. Yeah, man. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, politics as usual, right? Politics as usual. I mean, is there a lot of things I want to get off my chest, but I just feel like, man, what's done is done. Is this does this make me hell no? I'm not gonna sit here and say that this makes me happy at all. I don't advocate for none of that. That man don't represent me at all. Now they don't. They represent them. They don't represent me. He doesn't represent me. We wanted to see a new face and we wanted to see a new face in there, and that's what we want. But I guess you can't get everything you want, right? You can't get everything you want. Gotta take the good with the bad, the bitter with the sweet, or whatever, and hope that, and through God, you gotta stay prayed up. That's of course, I gotta tell y'all that y'all have to stay prayed up throughout everything. It just period in life. Gotta continue to keep moving forward. The race is not for the swift, as I always will hear. Love that line, by the way. The race is not just for the swift. But like all things, where hasn't there been a time where we wasn't resilient and showing true strength, even through adversity? And this is one of those times where we gotta really show that. I mean, I hear all sorts of things. We have 4 more years, indeed. We have 4 more years. So I guess at this moment, well, starting next year, we definitely have to do a report card on him. Well, starting off anyway. So you got the first year, then you got the second year, then you got the third, and then you got the fourth year. So he has 4 years to pretty much prove himself. That's all I'm gonna say on that. But listen, y'all like and subscribe to my channel. Like and subscribe to my channel. I Mosquito 82. YouTube I Mosquito. YouTube / letter C / I Mosquito 82. You can also hit me up. You can like and subscribe to my channel as well, and also send donations to my Venmo at I Mosquito 82. So pretty much everything is right there for you. It's also on the heading of my channel. Um, I have it in my description. Like and subscribe to this channel if you like. So much more that is going to be talked about. Listen, that's just what I got to get this off my chest, right? Because we had to. So with that being said, salute. I'll see y'all another time. Peace and blessings. Thanks for being here. I love y'all. Peace.